stream ended there. We had a little bit of issue and stuff. Then I think when I was connecting Dolacat, we lost signal or so down and everything fell out. So share the link again for me. When we lost Dolacat, we were talking and stuff, and everything fell apart. So please go back there and actually share the stream there for me. We lost Dolacat there, and my the thing fell out. You know, I mean it's ridiculous, completely ridiculous. Let's go ahead and share the link that we lost the connection when I was trying to get duplicated on the stuff. We lost the signal here. So if you hear, just go ahead and share it for me. I apologize. We had some kind of connectivity issue and stuff, and we lost the stream. So please share the link that let's get people back people back on. While I wait for Dolacare to join us here shortly. So share the link for me, please. We lost the stream when Dolacare was on and stuff. Let me go ahead and get it back up. If you're here, please go ahead and do that and just share it for me. Dolacare, what's up? Sorry, we lost the connection and stuff down there. Let's quickly go on this here and what have you. So to go around, you talk nonsense about people who are way above you. I don't understand.
Do, do,
I
do,
absolutely don't understand. Go ahead, Dolacare.
Let me just begin firstly with another conversation is about Lobo, but let me give you the last spoon conversation.
We have the network cut up there and stuff, and
Am I,
and that's why. Go ahead there for me, Dolacare.
let me give you the last deception in members of the Unity Party on the last spoon talk. And firstly, I listened to that spoon talk that brought about a conversation on Lobo respond to Madame Francine Richardson outside and professionalism. He did not address the issues. But what was quite important is that Mr. Amos Stewart, my colleague, my friend, started to give reason that Madame Salif is still a member of the Unity Party and she supports their agenda, and Madame Salif has nothing to do or nothing otherwise against Mr. Bwaka, neither does Mr. Bwaka has something against Madame Salif. And so when he made that assertion, then came Henry Costa. Henry Costa spoke in a denigrating manner from the very Unity Party against Madame Salif. And then the response by Mr. Amos Stewart, who is a spokesperson of the Unity Party, after Henry Costa spoke, he said Henry Costa has said it all, meaning the condemnation against Madame Salif, the condescending name calling against Madame Salif, the Secretary General of the Unity Party concurred with it. And Snow, I mean, we can say all we want to say about Snow being smart, he draw a correlation and said one of the Unity Party persons said this, and another Unity Party person, Costa, said this. That is just the dishonesty about elements and members of the Unity Party. But to George Lobo comes on air and said to Dr. Richardson that she should be grateful. An ANC member, a woman who came to Liberia 2017 campaigning for ANC, voted for Mr. Cummings, should be grateful that her brother Orlando, who is also a professional person, who has made his decision to support another person, should be grateful that Mr. Orlando was accommodated by Ambassador Bwaka. But his parity of reasoning, it means that he's upside down himself. He just does not understand. What he has spoken about, it is not to Dr. Richardson repetition. It is to Mr. Orlando Richardson, who have volunteered to assess Ambassador Bwaka. He has denigrated Orlando to have said that Orlando should be glad that he's working on the Bwaka team. That is.
Let me set a question. Who is Lobo, by the way? And what is exactly the boycott team that anybody needs to say that, or I need to be on here to feel entitled or feel like I've accomplished? What value does it add to anybody by saying the affiliate of the Debo in the boycott campaign? I'm trying to understand. That's what I'm trying to understand.
I got a point, but what I'm trying to say is that Lobo does not know how to communicate. To have referred to Orlando who is in different party and that Reggie that is in different party, that she should be grateful when she already pushing her party, it means that Lobo argument is non sequitur. It does not make sense. That's what I'm trying to say. But they see Lobo, who does not know how to handle things professionally, is on record or speaking into a microphone and instructing Joseph Boakai at a public function. This man is just not a professional person. This man does not have the gravitas of what it takes for an intellectual. So the best that he will do always is to find himself in a small cubicle that he will be having conversation. Liberia Public Radio invited this man. Come, let us debate. This man had Dollar name and he could not turn up to come to the conversation. This man can only build his own word in his little cubicle to condemn people on his Facebook page.
I like you raw. You're a dummy. True story. Nobody's a dummy, a bona fide dummy. He's a dumb. I say so.
Yeah.
You know, because the truth here is, Dolake, you know, and I really wanted to go 1,000% nasty, and the nastiness is going to come on another podcast. But I wanted to establish for rational people. I'm really trying to understand, because you said a few things here, right? What kind of value does it add to anybody by being, you know, part of the boycott team or being connected to Joseph Boycott? Number one. Number two, who is George Lobo to tell people that they're fortunate enough to be close to boycott? I really want to know, because when you're saying this thing, then I want to know, who is this person? He's a stupid kid. You offer nothing, absolutely nothing. Nobody's jumping on the high horse and saying that, oh, the boycott campaign is a gig that I want to be on because it's going to set me apart. Absolutely shit. The entire shit is a nightmare. It's a sinking ship. It's an absolute garbage. You understand me? So it does not add value to nobody. Where I think that I'm really trying to comprehend yet too, in addition to that, is how have we reached the point wherein people who lack everything can look at people who bring in everything and say that they're unimportant? What sense does that make? What sense does that make? The reason why the upset Dolakit is that consistently now we have been putting information out there about that. And yesterday on Unapologetic, we released a lot of information about the former vice president. They're so hurt, they're so bitter, they don't know how to respond. And so they're going out there, they're just making outlandish comments and stupid statements and thinking now they can go low. But if you go low, we'll go low too. I will go low there, right? But Lobo is a young man who's troubled. And this is an honest advice to him from me. He's a young man who's troubled. Dude, get your shit together. Get your life together. Running after politicians and politics and stuff, this doesn't define you. Take a step back, breathe. Surround yourself with people who will motivate you to thrive. Because at the end of the day, Liberian politics is not going to give you the kind of life you're looking for in terms of substance. Politics will come and go. We've seen people who've been part of this political landscape, when government job goes to become almost nothing. Build yourself professionally. This is an honest advice to that joker. And the way you do that is not by being disrespectful to people who can offer you guidance or mentorship like Dr. Richardson. And have value in yourself. Don't like it, and I'll let you to come here shortly. In the ANC, we're privileged to have so many people well connected, multi-millionaires, successful people. And even having access to Mr. Cummings, I tell every young person, don't make it a priority to think that the only thing that you can call or talk to Mr. Cummings about is how he can give you $100, $200 or so. Learn from him. Learn from those people around you. Use that as an opportunity to push yourself to succeed, to excel. That's the greatest value addition ever. But when you come and start looking down at people who can actually lift you up from the trouble you're faced with, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself. You've been almost 6 years into this bullshit, and you're going to go another 6 years with nothing going on. This is not the kind of path that you want to take. And this is an honest advice to him. At this day and age and stuff, you can't think for yourself. You're struggling. You're over here around all these people begging. It is embarrassing. I don't like to be personal with people, but when you start insulting somebody's mother or woman and start saying things about people that some of us care about and value, it becomes personal. It becomes personal. Focus on building yourself. Go ahead, Dolake.
And let me say the free pastor United Party, and I said it on one of their followers' posts yesterday. The free pastor United Party had 2017, where United Party at the closure of the campaign went on ERBC, the state-owned radio, as an incumbent political party and spewed out innuendos, insults, lies, and misgivings about Mr. Cummings' character. And we stood in the second round and supported the Unity Party against everything. Those low life will not be accommodated 2023. If they go down the water, we will get down in the worst part of Sunni Wen and will come up clean. That we can assure the Unity Party and its followers. If they want to have the conversation on the issues that are confronting our country, we are prepared. We have the intellectual well-witted to discuss it on that basis. So this is not a free pass for George Lobo and the likes of the Unity Party people to think that you will come here insult Dr. Richardson when she had raised issue that Bwaka was never placed AK-47 to her head to have answer to. Liberian people were concerned that Ambassador Bwaka said 2017, he said nothing about George Weah. He was doing nothing as an opposition, major opposition actor. We were forming CPP. Ambassador Bwaka could not condemn George Weah about the 16 billion that were questionable missing. Ambassador Bwaka had no policy on the 25 million mop-up exercise until late. Weah came and told us that Ambassador Bwaka had been asking for handlers, and he provided those things to Ambassador Bwaka before we heard Ambassador Bwaka coming on to talk. Liberians got concerned why Ambassador Bwaka had not been talking. People are concerned based on his physical look as to whether he has the agility, the strength, the physical and intellectual capacity to lead our country, given where we have gone. And he admitted on 50-50, without any gun being pointed to his head, that indeed he carries a pacemaker. Nobody has anybody lifespan to determine how they live. It is sickness, anybody could get sick. But our country, what is going through right now, with an individual that already has a health crisis, I think there were Dr. Richardson has to come in to ask questions, what can we hope for? And so if you want to have an argument, you, George Noble, you should be able to counter Dr. Richardson on the basis. But to come and say that Dr. Richardson does not respect your standard bearer, as if though it's respect that are going to take our country forward, and not on the issue. I mean, it is quite disappointing. It is disrespectful. I mean, it is just below the belt, but we must understand who a George Lobo is. A George Lobo who handles, and it's important. I would never ever do that to Mr. Cummings. We have ran a campaign in the process. I would never be a confidant of Mr. Cummings and go and speak into a microphone as though I'm instructing him, like as though he lacks capacity to think for himself. That was disrespectful. I thought about that. Ambassador Bwaka would have thought that people like George Noble should not be people around, I mean, his kitchen cabinet, or people who should be pushing his idea as though they are the one who allow. I mean, Lobo, I hope that Lobo can sit on some platform with some of us and discuss the policy part of.
Let's not give the kid some kind of relevance that people need him to sit on platform. I don't like to waste that, because this is the reason why.
But do 1 minute. Do 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. You know, I believe in one of the person who followed Dr. H by my family. I follow him because he's highly educated. Maybe I will not agree with John Lobo because of a low life and unsophisticated backward thinking. That one I will agree with you. But when it comes to the intellectual space, I will accommodate anybody who has an idea to perform and who can prove me otherwise. And that is why I say I believe in that the formula, because he will sit with anybody except you prove yourself like George Lobo, then he will not sit with you. Because I can be sense in old person head, I can be sense in young person head, I can be sense in a child head. That is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I was saying that we passed the point of trying to sit with scumbags and douchebags who offer nothing there. But I get your point on that. But like as I was saying earlier, if you want to make the conversation about the issue, then come and talk the issue. But the fact that you can't talk the issue with people who know the issue better than you, it tells me you're weak. And so the only thing you resort to is to pour fallacies and insult about a woman who surpasses you and everything. So you call her fake degree holder. What's the fakeness here? There's a woman that got a history. Go look it up. Google Dr. Francine Richardson. Go Google her. Right? Reputable, well respected and stuff. She's actually crafted a nice little career for her. Now let's Google you though. you know, you understand me? But an honest advice to this man. You see, hey, some of us get involved in the body politics and speak because we're passionate about Liberia. I tell people all the time. But if I tell you today, don't I care that I do these things because I want my name to be on something to go sit there in a job for a job in Liberia, you'll be crazy to think that. Because guess what? I've got the influence of the people. If I were desperate, if that was part of my chapter, excuse me, that's something I'll be focused on. But we've got to build ourselves, especially young adults, young people, whatever it is. And the way you do that is to be able to attract people who are value people around, learn from them, irrespective of what your disagreements are, right? And excel. But the young man is being caught up in something that's going to hunt him for a long time. There's a difference when you're independent, when your foundation is strong. There's a difference when you're weak and you rely on the same people you're cursing today. If your eating bowl is in somebody's house as a man, you don't have anything to stand on. Look, the last thing about men, that thing that calls your son, when people say that's a man, right? Self-pride is something that means. If your self-pride is taken away from you as a man, you're nothing. If you're a man and you don't have self-pride, if you can't stand on your own feet, you don't have that foundation, you're nobody. I'm sorry. You are absolutely nobody. This is a fact. So when you're going down and talking to people, watch that because it will be nasty. Know yourself, excel in your personal life, and put people around you who can guide you as opposed to come and talking something stupid. Because when we turn it around you, you will not like it because we'll fire non-stop and we'll go after your head.
And I agree with you 100%. That is why when I sat on Henry Costa's show 2017 prior to the runoff, Mr. Costa referred to me as a consistent person, an upright person. That was the kind of introduction that he gave me. Because when I resigned from the Unity Party 2012,
but man, please start referencing people to Costa here, man.
No, I got to reference them on the basis of being an extortionist. I got to reference them being on the basis of being an extortionist, on the basis of being blackmailer, and how our character stand tall above that character. He didn't praise me because I was wearing good collusion. He didn't praise me because I'm handsome. He praised me because I have character. And so when I endorsed Ambassador Bouaka and said that the ANC folks who decide to go independently to support Bouaka will be more as compared to those who will support CDC, he stayed there and he held me. And I did not do that because I wanted anything for Ambassador Bouaka. By the way, Ambassador Bouaka requested through different MSA that he wanted to see Jonathan Dolake. Based on my upright character, like on the topic we are speaking about, I rejected vehemently to sit with Ambassador Bouaka because it didn't mean anything I mean, 300 persons sitting in Ambassador Boaga compound, everybody meeting him 3 minutes, every 3 minutes. I would say nothing, I would change anything. It would just be that I get thank you, I got gas left for you. I rejected it. I met Ambassador Boaga 2018, and I was deliberate because I never wanted us to go through the dreadfulness. At that time, which is 5 years to 6 years back, I felt that he was far better than George Weah in the second round. So that is the kind of person, that's the kind of personality that we build up. Unlike people like Henry Costa, who are extortionists, who are blackmailers, who follow money, he came to condemn Edwin Snow. How can Pa be condemning Tigeto? I don't understand, how is that workable?
This is the idiot thing I'm talking about. Dolaket. These are some of the things I'm talking about.
That's it. You claim that Edwin Snow is
Go ahead.
the United Party claim that Edwin Snow is a grasshopper. He moved from one party to another. All political actors in Liberia move from one party to another. But that's not the issue. Henry Costa said that he didn't understand or he didn't believe in Boaga at the time, meaning that he was riding on gossip. They assumed to give the benefit of the doubt that he now believes in Boaga. Now he supported Boaga was second round. 2018, he went back against the CPP formation, and he was taking money from George Weah, and he was condemning the CPP. Does that make it any better? If I simplify what Henry Costa is offered as an extortionist, as a blackmailer, as somebody who better is in the wheelbarrow, and he can carry it and service it anywhere someone has the biggest cash to provide. What he failed to understand is that Mr. Cummings is not that person that you put gun to his head, you blackmail him, and he succumb. Mr. Cummings will never do that to you. So when he noticed that Mr. Cummings cannot do that, he thought to go by Boaga and the United Party. And what the Boaga and the United Party are not aware of, and they are made Henry Costa ignorant to be their spokesperson, is that Henry Costa is trying to build up himself in the United Party as the loon or the major voice. When they reach at a particular point in time, that's the political gimmick there, where United Party will depend on him, he will now use that portfolio as being one of the key actors to use it as a transaction basis to pledge his support to George Weah at the appropriate time and leave the United Party in the cold. So I'm not making this conversation as a major point.
Dolake, you know I say as DSG, let me say this to you. You know, regardless of where we stand politically with the Unity Party, right? I've reached a point wherein I don't think that I can even ridicule the Unity Party, because what Joseph Boaga, arm of that party, represent is not the real Unity Party. These are fraction of individuals in that party who have actually besieged, who have actually taken over the People Party for no reason. They don't have the majority of the Unity Party. Okay? That's a splinter group. The Joseph Boaga splinter group. Okay? So when I hear them talking as if it's not the Unity Party, I wouldn't disrespect Ellen's Unity Party, the Unity Party of all of those strong young men who built something that was formidable. The reason why they cannot even get the majority of the party, and some of those reputable faces were in UP to identify with that campaign, speaks volume. Because the former vice president is divisive. And he has surrounded himself with a bunch of jokers who have no manners. They absolutely have nothing to offer other than the regular bullshit that we hear. Excuse my expression, but I've got to say that. This is politics, Dolake. And that's why they're struggling. And that's why they will continue to struggle. This is why the party will continue to rely on other people. And that's why in the diaspora, they can't even raise anything beyond $1,500. Absolutely. You know? So these people are crazy. I don't pay attention, but you know, the intent here is that the political stuff will deal with that nonsense on unapologetic. But my thing here is, though, is that, listen, don't disrespect for Dr. Francine Richardson. She's not your equal. No. Don't disrespect Dr. Francine Richardson. She's not your equal. No day. Okay, no, I know we have this foolishness in the community wherein we try to denigrate and say things about people. No, 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 no. Let's lay out the facts as it is. You come over and tell me, oh, I don't know where she get her degree from. Where did you get yours from? Where did you get your education from? Who respects you? What have you written that commands the attention of any other person? Where are your references? What kind of reputable body do you work for? Who's gonna say that you bring any kind of expert opinion, any damn conversation that you come here and disrespect a good woman? Are you serious? Let's stop the joke in this community, man. All right, let's stop this joke. And if you know what, if Dr. Richardson came about, don't care. You understand me? If Dr.
Yeah.
Richardson start talking about mental health issues and cognitive issues, you think I would listen to a nobody George Lobo over Dr. Franklin Richardson?
No, but it's a capacity gap. It's a capacity gap that Google is made available on every internet, and that somebody will come to say where she got a degree from. It's a capacity gap.
Yeah, but
it's a research gap.
Can say that, but that's what we say. This is why the boycott campaign continue to struggle. This is why people continue to be at the bottom of whatever tier it is. Because of the ignorance, the foolery, the stupidity that we see in this damn community. President Richardson is not your equal. Come on, man. She's not your equal. The people you look up to, they're not measure up to her. Stop being disrespectful. Because all of us can get disrespectful. Do I want to listen to your opinions about cognitive issues versus somebody who's got a history of working in that capacity? Okay? Can you recommend treatment for anybody based upon psychological issues or behavioral issues? Absolutely not. Who respects you when it comes to professional discipline and making recommendations? Not you. But you sit there and spew rubbish and garbage and talk foolishness. Who the hell are you? We're not going to go there. And this is why we have to speak up to these things. You understand me? This is why we have to speak up to the thing. Put your big boy pants on. The Unity Party of the Splinter Group for a long time acted as if they understood the issues. They spoke as if they were the only ones that could discuss the issues. Now, ANC in the picture, they're running away. The same people who turn around to CDC and say they were not smart to discuss the issues have not been able to put together any sensible argument. Because why? They're getting slammed all over. Intellectual capacity, lack. Now they can play those games because they lack what is needed to discuss those tangibles. And that's what he's struggling with. You can come here to tell the Liberian people how is Joseph Boyka going to reform that country after allegedly embezzling funds while working with LPMC and the Agriculture Ministry as stated in that document that we presented yesterday. You have over 40-something plus years of public sector experience. To this day, you cannot tell us how is it that somebody who did not usher in reform did not even perform after the U.S. spent $400+ million in the country.
As a matter of fact, that public service role that he played, the ones that have been audited or fundings have come about have been in a more bad mood. So Ambassador Boyka should not be proud of it. You can be proud of a public service, employment.
Coming to part 2 next week. You made some
I got it.
Independent investigation by the United States on the GAO, that brought shocking details for the first time, linking those agencies that the former vice president was responsible for allegedly in massive corruption. We're going into the context of this particular document. This is what they don't want to talk about. This is the main issue. These are the reasons why we sit here every day to educate the Liberian people. But it is shocking that the same people who have been talking here for a long time don't care. That, the Unity Party ain't doing this and cannot bring anything substantial. But you want to say nonsense about Dr. Francine Richardson. Come on, man. Don't be fool. Don't be a fool, son. Don't be a fool. You can keep that thing among your peers and the people who settle for mediocrity like you. But you're not going to be a disrespect here. And listening, I would take the opinions of an expert on cognitive issues than a bad boy who is only finding his way a floor member, a guard dog for the boycott regime. I'm not going to take your opinion on nobody like you over somebody who comes to all of the expertise needed to make an informed decision on this issue. You're a joker.
Lastly, let me say, Ambassador Barker does not have a very good history, even in the agriculture sector. Look, Mr. John Gibson, a Liberian in California, who worked endlessly and tirelessly, retired, took to Lofa County, rice equipment, produced the biggest rice farm during Ambassador Barker 12-year term, met Ambassador Barker so that they can have the thing as a sustained development. Ambassador Barker did nothing. The Ministry of Agriculture did nothing. I mean, in his own backyard, that old man had to get frustrated. All of the equipments, vehicles, things that he carried in order to enhance rice productivity in Lofa County it came to a zero because the vice president, who claimed to be an agriculturalist, who claimed to be an individual who has stood for agriculture, could not use that as a strength in order to enhance rice production in our country. And so when I listen to some of our colleagues talk about agriculture being, something that brings strength or that gives strength to the Unity Party, I just cannot phantom it. When I listen to them talk about the issue that the ADL that were headed by Windham McIntosh, in Lofa County, and the bar president does not take responsibility. When I follow our colleagues that try to hold Edwin Snow responsible, but the vice president served as a president of the Senate on the APM terminal, and they claim that it was a bad deal. Look, if I am part of something, I will take responsibility. If that's a bad deal and I agree because of some reason, I will take that responsibility that I agree because there were more in it for us. But I will not sit there as a vice standard bearer and president of the Liberian Senate and something bad is going against the will of the Liberian people, and I approbate it to come back to say that it was bad. If that is bad, I resign. But Ambassador Barker is not tired to be vice president. Why didn't he resign?
Don't like it. Let me tell you this here. Trust me, it's gonna get really interesting over the past couple of weeks because we're coming with some details. We're going into the context of it. Politically, we'll get there. We'll talk about these issues that are of essence. And that's what we're trying to stir the conversation. That's the direction we're trying to put the conversation. The conversation needs to be about the substantial issues, those issues that determines how the Liberian people can survive in a country that requires leadership. We'll get to that point. But at this time here, as we close up, so I can go back to my day. I got about a lot of things to work on here today, but bad with schoolwork and work and all of that. But just with us closing here, let me say this: when you come and go after somebody's career, you should show us what you bring. If you want to call a woman who is qualified, competent, and whose credentials is being referenced by reputable institutions, and you want to come and actually downplay that, we want to see what value you bring. What experience you come with that tells us that you're the one with the credible experience. Gone are the days wherein people just sit down and talk and just spew nonsense because a few people who sit and listen to them or a few people who go encourage them to call it politics will hold you accountable. As I stated at the beginning of this short podcast here, Dr. Richardson is not your equal little boy. Let's call it as it is. You can say all you want with your political tirades and all of the foolishness you want to talk about. But when we talk about magnetized people, when we talk about value people, you talk about people like Dr. Richardson. When you talk about people who add substance, you talk about people like her, proven people. And so nitwits are individuals who come with nothing to offer, will not get to determine how good people who have value will thrive in this community. We will put a stop to it. And this is an embarrassment to the boycott campaign and everything that ties. But I'm not surprised because I'm not even gonna think highly of the entire campaign because the entire thing has been ran on deception, disrespect, and nothing sensible. So there's nothing of expectation that comes when I speak about that campaign because it has now been reduced to absolutely garbage. Because it's garbage when you have people around Joseph Boyka who will be this openly foolish and disrespectful to people who come with a lot in this community. If Dr. Richardson says something, counter it with something sensible. Show us in writing, show us using logic how you think that her assertions does not really coincide with whatever it is she's saying, or how is it that you are proving what she said wrong. Academically, go there. That's what we want. But you can tell us that somebody's fake, that this, that, and insult her because of her own expert opinion to weigh in on the issue. When we talk about cognitive dissonance, when there's a patterns of decline in memory, an expert would definitely look at age as a factor. And realistically speaking, is it logical or sensible enough for an expert to actually hint that somebody who's up there in age and based upon patterns that they're saying, that's some kind of cognitive decline? Is it wrong? It's absolutely not wrong. You can look at behaviors patterns of people and question certain moves, certain things in terms of decision making. And truthfully speaking, if Liberia was a society that respected the system and processes, the vice president will be answerable on when it comes to anything medical. Those records will be presented for the public, for the media community, and all of those that are invested to see for themselves and render their own judgment. So it was very stupid, beyond childish, ignorant. This is not politics. This is foolery. This is mediocrity. This is disgusting. It is trash. You understand me? It does not represent anything valuable. But then again, though, look at the person who's talking. But we're not going to hold back, though. We're going to fire back and we're going to say what we need to say. Do not care. Go ahead. Close up, please.
Thank you so much for your response. I know you did extremely well. We don't intend to elevate Lobo, but we intend to spell out his dim-witted understanding of what it takes to argue intellectually. He asked questions as to where Dr. Richardson got her degree from. It means that that kind of person is not a researcher. He's outside the box of any intellectual. He asked a question, or he claimed to have analyzed that Orlando should be grateful, and that Richardson should be grateful for Orlando being on the team of Boyka. That is also irresponsible because Orlando belongs to another party and that Richardson belongs to another party. I'd like to close up by saying that all of these things came about because Ambassador Boyka, who has served 12 years, who could have advised Madam Salif to have paid the road to his mother-in-law home, did not do so. Instead, decided to ask Edwin Snow to beg George Weah to do such. And Edwin Snow, being who he is too, and thinking that the Unity Party people were after him, had to come out and spew it out in public, for which he resigned because he felt that Ambassador Boyka threatened his life. And this is where the conversation came about. And that is why Dr. Richardson have to ask about the memory ability of Ambassador Boyka based on age. Because if you remember that he sent Edwin Snow text message or call him to talk to a friend Weah for the road construction to a mother home, you wouldn't have held Edwin Snow responsible for Weah outbursts against him. As a major opposition party, these were reasons why Ambassador Boyka could not condemn George Weah, and they were playing against the opposition. And I'd like to say that I'm not surprised of the Unity Party people way of insulting women, because they have insulted their former standard bearer countlessly. Just in the most recent, Costa came and insulted, and the Secretary General agreed with the insults against Madam Salif, their former standard bearer. So we are not elevating Lobo. We just spewing out or speaking out to his net-watted, them what low life and to talk against a woman without arguing on the substance of what is is about. Thank you so very kindly.
Thank you, Doloke. And let me say this, my people. Listen, I really came here to be ruthless, but we'll get back to the nitty gritty next Saturday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time on Radio for Unapologetic. We'll go into the additional stuff. My people, let's make sense of this. Dr. Richardson have on several occasions talked about cognitive dissonance. What is cognitive dissonance? And let me just tell you, it is the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral changes and attitude change. Now, let me ask you though, who is Dr. Richardson? What qualification does she bring to that particular conversation? A mental health expert. This is what she is. This is what she specializes in. Now, based upon the definition, are there patterns that show inconsistent thought when it comes to the VP? Are there things that you see now that suggest there is decline in terms of his cognitive abilities? Be truthful. Let's look at age. It's a factor as well. What are those things that she's hinting to? As a professional, as an expert, and somebody who cares about Liberia, it is all right. It is all right. These conversations for somebody who's seeking the highest position in any nation, the Liberian people need to know. So Dr. Richardson is in, she's on the right side of judgment, excuse me, when she brings those issues up. There is nothing insulting about it. The only people who find it insulting are low lives and halfways who think that they can continue to tell our people how to think and how to say things. The same people who are only focused on telling women what they're supposed to have conversations about. That nonsense will stop. We will not allow losers and halfwits and low lives to determine how good people speak on issues, especially women who have strong opinions and have expert opinions. Government should not be determined by men who have egos, or leadership by men who have egos or feel entitled. We must respect people with the qualifications and listen to them. Challenge them based upon the expert opinions and talk about these issues in a sensible manner. Not make it personal and insulting, because all we have to offer is nothing of substance, and we feel so insecure about the complex issues that we cover about. Listen, not one man can be crazy. Everybody can be crazy on their own way. Don't insult Dr. Richardson, because an insult to her is an insult to every other person. And you know what? We'll stand up and we'll come after nitwits like you. A joker like you with nothing to offer should not insult a value person. Oh, in addition, let me tell you, if you really want to know what value she brings, she takes her time outside of this community or outside of the social media space to be invested in the professional lives of young people. And let me tell you, she's been invested in my professional life as well. These are people we have conversations, and you're listening to them. You have conversations because if you're pushed, when you're obsessed with success, when you're obsessed with professional success, especially, you're listening to proven people and you guide your actions on those things that you can learn. Learn from people who try. It is not a bad thing. Stop denigrating good people because it doesn't add value to you. It makes you weak, it makes you sick, it makes you disgusting, and it pushes people away from you. We'll be back next time. Thank you, Doloke. I appreciate it.